Hi, it's Christy here and welcome back to Spacious Success. Today we're going to dive in to the real science, the science of feminine peak performance. What are the rhythms, the recoveries and the inputs that allow you as an ambitious, accomplished woman to perform at your best without burning out and stressing out in the process? If you've ever tried to hack your way to high performance only to end up exhausted and depleted, this episode is for you. I don't share hacks, just science-backed solutions that have been tailored for accomplished, high-performing women just like you. By the end of this episode, you'll know exactly how to work with your biology so that you can thrive and not just survive. This is about working with your HOS, your human operating system. So let's get started. I want you to meet Jess today. Jess was one of my executive coaching clients. She joined my Elevated Performance program late last year, and we worked together for over 6 months. During this time, I got to know Jess really well. Now, on the outside, she had it all together. She was climbing the corporate ladder, she was hitting her goals and her sales targets, she was juggling it all. She was the kind of woman that people looked at and thought, how does Jess do it all? Is she Superwoman? Jess was climbing fast. She was showing up. She was handling everything that life threw at her, from her work and her caring and her kids. Her calendar was packed. It was back-to-back meetings. She was up early and going to bed late. In fact, she was getting up at 5 a.m. every day because someone told her that that's what high-achieving women have to do. Side note, don't let anyone should on you. In fact, when someone shoulds on you, it's a signal that you should disregard their advice. She was journaling, she was ice bathing, she was blending protein smoothies, of course taking her creatine. She was wearing her weighted vest on her walks, she was lifting heavy weights at the gym, she was ticking off all the high performance hacks. And from an optics perspective, on the outside, Jess looked successful. But the truth is, on the inside, it was complete chaos. She was stressed. She was constantly exhausted. She was perennially distracted and feeling like she wasn't enough. She was always on. And yet, like so many of my coaching clients and women that I speak to, she wore what I call a performance mask. Even though it was chaos, she didn't crumble, she soldiered on. And because she didn't crack and because she didn't crumble, no one noticed. Jess was existing, if I'm really honest, and I'm sure she doesn't mind me saying this, as a powered down, low-res version of herself. She could feel that something was off, but she couldn't put a finger on it. She couldn't name it. Especially because she was doing everything right, or so she thought. Let's dive in. Hi, I'm Dr. Christy Goodwin, a Neuro-Performance scientist, speaker, and executive coach who learned the hard way that chasing success can come at a cost. After burnout landed me in hospital, I made it my mission to help ambitious women who are done trading their health and happiness for high performance. On Spacious Success, I share science-backed strategies and real stories to help you flourish as a female at work and beyond so you can stop paying the success tax. Here's the truth. Jess was following a model of performance that wasn't designed for her. This was more a patriarchal model of success. Hustle culture and the hack mentality often ignores our biological imperatives, especially as women. We are not small men with fluctuating hormones. You see, peak performance for females isn't about doing more. It's about aligning our operating system, our HOS, our brain and body's rhythms, with the ways that we operate, the cadence and contours of our days. Let's be honest, what does real, sustainable peak performance actually look like? As you heard in an earlier episode, I have something called the Flourishing Formula, and it has 3 pillars. Building your stress adaptability, which we explored in a previous episode. This is where we need to learn to dance with stress. And the good news is that our human operating system was designed for stress. We are designed for short bursts and a resolved stress cycle. Tune in to an earlier episode, episode 2 in fact, that I think is all about the stress superstorm and how we can actually use stress, believe it or not, to catalyze, not constrain and restrict our performance. The second pillar in the formula is about optimizing our FQ, our focus quotient. We're now living and working in a digitally demanding world that was designed to be distracting and disruptive. Learning how to harness the power of focused attention in a world that has been engineered to distract us is a super skill that will set you apart. This is your FQ. And the third pillar is around reframing recovery. We need, as females, to stop seeing rest as a luxury. It's a prerequisite for your performance, sustainable performance. Taking micro breaks, having quality sleep, embedding physical movement in your day, having deep play, these will fuel your brain and sustain your performance. Skip recovery, like I once did and many of my clients do, and your output, it'll collapse. No matter how hard you grind, no matter how many green smoothies you sip, and how many ice baths you sink into, you'll simply collapse. You cannot outperform your biological blueprint. I often say the basics work if you work the basics. So why do women need this? Well, more ambitious women often pay the highest price when it comes to peak performance. You see, many of us have adopted masculine models of performance where we hustle and grind. Women also have the double digital burden. School apps, family admin, caring and domestic responsibilities. We have hormonal shifts through perimenopause and menopause that change our biological and recovery needs. We see this manifest in sleep disruption, layered with constant multitasking. You see, this isn't just about willpower, it's about your biology. And I have to be honest, your biology will always win. What did Jess do? Well, Jess shifted things and you can too. When Jess and I worked together in Elevated, we tracked her biometrics with a Whoop strap. This data was clear. Her data was really clear. Her 5 a.m. wake-ups weren't serving her. We used my chronotype assessment and report and we identified that Jess was in fact a bear, not a lion. And Jess was much better waking up between 6 and 6:30 a.m., not 5 a.m. as she was. We also found that Jess's nightly ice baths were compromising her sleep. Her recovery windows each day were too small, sometimes even non-existent. Jess wasn't getting enough restorative sleep. Her deep sleep and her REM sleep weren't sufficient. We could also see through her stress monitor on her Whoop strap that her high daytime stress was causing her 2 a.m. wake-ups with her brain buzzing and elevated cortisol levels. So we made some shifts. We adjusted her sleep schedule to match her chronotype. We identified her peak performance windows. Her evening ice baths moved to morning cold showers and in smaller doses, and we actually increased the temperature. Not at night, because her wearable data on her Whoop strap showed us that her evening ice baths really adversely impacted her sleep. We started to prioritize micro breaks in her day, closing her eyes, going for a walk, sighing. Rituals that helped her manage her stress in real time, not 20 minutes of the downward dog. We started to create some predictable wind down routines, power down protocols to signal to her brain that her day was done. So she didn't go from running at 120 kilometers an hour and get into bed and expect to fall asleep the minute her head hit the pillow. And what happened? The results were phenomenal. Jess went from chaos to calm. She transitioned from surviving to thriving. Jess became the high-res version she knew she wanted to be. What we did, we tracked her chronotype. We mapped the contours and the cadence of the day, her day, to meet her chronotype. We created those recovery rituals. We worked roughly for 90 minutes and then Jess took a break. She'd breathe, she'd stretch, she'd do some squats, she'd go outside, she'd make a cup of tea. Jess set some really strong digital curfews and boundaries. She didn't let her screens dictate the rhythms of her day. And just prioritized connection. She saw it as fuel. A chat with a friend, lunch break with a colleague. These were her performance boosters. What I want you to know is that you can achieve results like Jess too. Peak performance isn't about hustling harder for females. It's about micro shifts, small habits that align with your biology, your human operating system as a female. It's about rhythms, recovery, and inputs that will compound over time and will serve you, not enslave you. You don't need an overhaul. You don't need new hacks. You just need to make small, biologically endorsed changes that will support you. Jess is now living as what I call a high-res version of herself. Not because she did more, she actually ended up doing less, but she worked with her human operating system. And you can too. So ask yourself, what's one micro habit, one micro shift that you can make this week to support your rhythms, your recovery, your inputs? In our next episode, we're going to unpack the attention economy, why your FQ, your focus, is a company's profit. What can you do to reclaim your attention in a world that has been designed to hijack it? You're going to learn some simple science-backed ways to optimize your FQ. Until then, protect your rhythms, prioritize your recovery, and remember, ladies, true performance is sustainable. It's science.